Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Coming Clean. I'm solo today. It's just me. You're just getting Paige Hathaway. There's no Jason. There's no Lambert. You can exit now if you want to. But today we are back for another episode. And today I really wanted to dive into self-esteem, self-confidence, because, well, first off, I hope this show helps you build unstoppable confidence and really live your potential and achieve your goals. So picking up where I left off about self-confidence, self-sabotage, self-criticism, self-esteem, moving into the new year, that's something that I feel like is super important because those things are going to help you be the best that you can be, achieve your goals, and, to really get where you want to be in life. So diving into the subjects of self-confidence, dealing with criticism, whether it's criticism that is constructive or not, and how to kind of like intertwine those things, because those things really impact each other. Believe it or not, but self-confidence, it is so vital to our mental health, and it plays a huge role in our life because, again, we are what we believe. And if we believe that we are not worthy and, we don't have self-confidence in ourselves, that's not going to make us get or be who we want to be. It helps us become more successful. It builds trust within ourselves and our abilities to be able to do things because we are confident in what we can do and achieve. And it allows us to actually have healthier relationships with other people because we're confident in ourselves. And then that confidence just, exudes to our friends, our family, and to people that we don't even know. So nurturing our confidence is part of taking care of ourselves. And often I feel like our confidence gets overlooked. Because I'm not talking about like you need to be like cocky and think that you're like the most amazing human and gift to the world, but we need to have confidence in ourselves. We need to have confidence in the things that we can do, and and the people that we want to be. I know we all, like every single one of us, has dealt with criticism at some point. Whether it be criticism we feel like it's hard to hear, especially if it's and intentionally harmful and not delivered in the most constructive manner. I'm sure that people have told us things before that really just like hit home because it wasn't in the most constructive way. But criticism can have a direct effect on our confidence levels within ourselves. So the old saying goes, you are your own worst critic. I'm sure everyone's heard that. You are your own worst critic, because self-criticism is a type of criticism that majority of us faced on a day-to-day basis. We are our thoughts. We speak to ourselves on a daily basis. And that's because, we repeatedly tell ourselves, either consciously or subconsciously, something every day. I'm sure you tell yourself something multiple times a day. And whatever we tell ourselves, we tend to believe whatever that is. So if you tell yourself like, you're doing a great job, or you're not doing a great job, you tend to that tends to either bring you up or weigh you down. And when we're criticizing ourselves, we are not working on building or maintaining our self-confidence. We are actually just doing the complete opposite, because most of the time when we are criticizing ourselves, obviously the term criticize is a more negative, a thought, negative feeling, where it's criticism. So saying things like yourself, like, I'm ugly, or I'm not good enough, or I'm a terrible person, or I'm always going to be alone, or I'm a failure. These kinds of thoughts, which I'm sure maybe you haven't said one of those exact ones, but I'm sure you've said something along those lines. And these kinds of thoughts, it's self-destructive. It really just serves no real positive purpose for you. You need to think when you're thinking something, maybe you don't know if it's criticism, and you need to ask yourself, like, is this thought going to help me achieve something in my life, like a goal? Like, is this something that is going to make me feel worse about myself? And then you can kind of like, bring that thought back, reel it back in, and figure out, is this, am I doing more harm than good? Because things that we think about ourselves, let me give you a few examples that I've actually more so recently caught myself saying. Like, it's you catch yourself. I caught myself during the holiday season saying, why did I eat that? No, I better go to the gym. Is that doing more harm than good? I actually caught myself saying the other day, that sounded so dumb. I can't believe I said that. Again, that's, I could have thought of a better way to phrase that, but I just thought, like, oh my gosh, I sounded so dumb. Like, why did I say that? Again, it's bringing me down a little bit. Or I didn't finish all my goals today. I'm disappointed in myself, because for me, I go off of a checklist, and if I didn't like check off everything I had to do, which my to-do list, sometimes you feel like you can do everything from the moment you wake up until the moment you go to sleep, and you just don't get it all done. But I've caught myself saying, like, I'm really disappointed in myself. I wasn't proud of what I had done that day and got done despite, X, Y, and Z. I just was down on myself. So those are a few examples of real examples for me that I've been, self-critical lately. So, let's just dive into this topic. Self-confidence. So, what is self-confidence? Again, when I'm talking about self-confidence, I'm not talking about you need to think that your poo doesn't stink and that you are like the greatest gift to earth. That's not what I'm talking about self-confidence, and about, it being detrimental to our mental health. But I'm sure that we all have a general idea of what self-confidence is. I'm sure we all have a general idea of what self-confidence feels like. I was looking it up when I was looking up stuff, and the Webster Dictionary defines self-confidence as confidence in oneself and in one's powers and abilities. So what that means is we feel confident, we feel positive in ourselves and what we are capable of. Self-worth, self-esteem, these types of words are pretty similar, and we can often use them in an interchangeably way when we talk about like self-confidence, like, oh, my self-worth, oh, my self-esteem, oh, my self-confidence. They're somewhat similar. However, there are a few differences, as my dad was calling me, but we feel a greater self-worth when we like do things like master a skill, we achieve goals. It's when we have a more general sense of ourselves, and we kind of like, know how to deal with things a little bit better. We understand ourselves better. We have and find like that inner peace within ourselves. So first and foremost, I think it would be beneficial to kind of break down the characteristics of more confident people and less. So first, let's break down characteristics of more confident people. So here are a few characteristics, and I'm saying you might, as I'm saying these off, you might be like, oh, like I'm that, or I'm this, or whatever. So confident people celebrate other people's success. This is like a huge one because especially with social media and especially with the world we live in, I mean, it's very hard for people to clap for other people, which is mind-boggling to me. But celebrating other people's success, most confident people can do that. Most confident people stay open-minded. They're not like closed thinking. They're optimistic. They're open-minded. And most confident people relatively think in a more positive manner. Obviously, every day is not going to be rainbows and sunshines. You're going to go through it. But for the most part, confident people are willing to take more risks. Confident people are able to laugh at themselves, which I feel like is such a big one. If you're confident in yourself and you mess up, or, with your friends, you can be more in a joking manner. You guys can as Lambert and I do, we just like kind of bitter batter back and forth and we can laugh at each other. Most of the time, more confident people are able to do that. Most confident people are also pretty decisive. And they are always learning and growing and trying new things and doing new things. They're not just kind of like, stagnant in their bubble. They're moving and they're shaking. Most confident people also can admit their mistakes, and they also are able to take responsibilities for either their mistakes or, the mishaps or whatever that might be happening in their life, because most confident people know that you're not always going to succeed and there will be failure and there will be setbacks, and they're okay with that. Now, these are some characteristics of more insecure people. So most insecure people are judgmental and jealous of others, which I'm sure that, we have our fair share of people that we know that are very judgmental and jealous of others. They just talk negative about other people. If you're around them, they really just don't have much nice to say. They're very gossipy, which could mean kind of jealous. And, that might mean that they're more insecure. Insecure people are typically more closed-minded. They just think what they think, and that's the end of the story. Most insecure people are pessimistic, and they fear change. They just like what they're doing. They are comfortable with where they are, and anything a little bit too outside of their comfort zone, they're like, I don't know. That's scary. Might want to think about it a little bit. Most insecure people hide their flaws. They want to seem like maybe they're this perfect person or they don't have anything wrong in their lives. And most insecure people are more likely to be indecisive because they don't know what they want. And a lot of the times they act like they know it all. Maybe they don't, maybe they do, but they're going to definitely turn it on and act like they know it all. And most insecure people are always, I won't say always, but most likely they're going to make excuses about something. And they tend to also blame other people. So does our self-confidence impact the way we take criticism? Well, to me, there are two types of criticism. There's destructive criticism that's unwarranted and really just doesn't serve a purpose for positivity. It's just destructive. It's just mean. It's harsh. It's brutal. What positive, message can we flip this to? There's really not one. And there's constructive criticism. So constructive criticism is typically more considerate. It doesn't attack someone. And it's especially based on internal factors, like personality or, those types of things, looks or, those types of things. There is definitely a healthy way to give criticism. Criticism is obviously a part of life. People are going to disapprove of what you're doing. They are going to want to comment about what you're doing. They're going to want to critique you about what you're doing. They're going to want to like give their opinions. I'm sure, as social media has opened up, this has been a huge portion of comments and DMs and people on your page is criticism. Maybe your parents or your family is is a little bit critical as well. But you should always be specific in the way that you give criticism. And it should target, the appropriate elements of to whom you are criticizing, whether it be like their performance, or you want to offer specific guidance because maybe you've done that before and you know that if you do X, Y, and Z, it's going to turn out like that. So you want to give, more of like guidance for improvement or like a healthy feedback, because there is healthy criticism. And when you are going to give someone criticism, hopefully you know that person well enough that you know kind of like their emotions and their like motivation of things that you can kind of like, maybe the tone you can say something in, or, maybe like you say something positive to a negative to a positive. But when we have like a healthy level of self-confidence, which I was talking about earlier, this also helps us assess criticism more objectively. Because if we're more confident in our abilities, then we probably more likely are going to take criticism in a better way. It's important when, provided criticism, you don't take it personally, and you figure out how to use this criticism as a benefit, because it can be used in a positive way. So people are probably thinking like, well, is criticism even helpful? Is there value in criticism? If there was negative self-talk after you heard criticism, where was that negative self-talk coming from? Like if you heard someone say something critical to you and you thought like negative right away, like where is that coming from? Is it coming from fear? Is it coming from insecurity? Kind of like go down that, why am I feeling like this? Because I feel that criticism is vital to our personal growth, and maybe we don't necessarily think of it as such, but constructive opinions and outside thoughts can be extremely beneficial, because we sometimes can only think like one way, or like we don't know everything, right? So someone's outside, opinions or thoughts can be extremely helpful. Just because we don't want to hear it doesn't mean that it's not true or that it doesn't provide some sort of value. So how can negative, constructive criticism impact our self-confidence? So I have been criticized, and I know what criticism can feel like, and it can truly just cut us to the core, especially if our self-confidence is already low. Maybe not all around, but maybe we don't have self-confidence in that particular thing that we are doing, but we are doing it, and then someone comes in and criticizes us. So it can just really just hurt us to the core. And if we base our self-confidence on other people's opinions, which I know that we've all been guilty of, because if we have like a fragile sense of confidence, one comment can just completely knock us down. And like I was saying before, like if you go outside your comfort zone and you're trying something new and you're not very good at that something new, but you're trying and you're doing it, and someone comes and criticizes you, and we're not already confident in that, it could just be like, then that negative self-talk comes in, like you're a failure, you're doing it wrong. So it is important to make sure that we are building our own self-confidence within ourselves, because we only have our control of our own thoughts, our own actions, our own words. So if someone does come by and criticize you and you are trying something new, you can just think that to yourself, like, I'm getting outside my comfort zone. Like, when's the last time you got outside your comfort zone? Just build yourself back up, give yourself that confidence again. Because if criticism is coming from inside our own head, and we can't seem to shake it, we may, and don't take this the wrong way, we may want to reach out to someone like a therapist, a trusted friend, a family member, to just help us work through our thoughts, because our thoughts, again, are so powerful and so detrimental to our mental health. And let me just tell you this, when I say therapist, I know everyone's like, a therapist, oh my gosh. But there is nothing wrong with going to a therapist. I've been to a therapist throughout my life, and a therapist is just there to really just give you like an unbiased opinion, because someone like maybe your best friend or a relative, your mom or whatever, might give you, depending on their character, and whatever the incident may be, they might give you a more biased opinion based on how they think that you're going to react, or, their impulsive reaction to the situation or whatever. So there's nothing wrong with going with a therapist. So if you have these thoughts in your head and you just like can't shake this self-criticism, even as I'm, kind of working you through, like, let's build up your self-confidence, let's do all these things, and these negative thoughts are just in your head, talk to someone, and really be active in that way. I'm sure that we also have all dealt with this thing called the imposter syndrome. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, this refers to this external experience of believing that you are not as competent as others may perceive you to be. So this is also, this imposter syndrome is tied directly to self-confidence and negative self-talk. So a few things that I kind of wanted to just go over that I find is helpful. Finding confidence in your own abilities and achievement play a really big role. So find confidence in things that you are already good at, things that you're already thriving in, things that you've achieved in life, because I'm sure there's a list of things, if you think back, that you've done and achieved and that you're good at. So build your confidence in those. Don't think about things that you're not good at. Think about things that you are great at, because I'm sure there's so many things. And a great way to also do this is writing it down. So if you have a hard time remembering all the good things, and you just are pessimistic and you're thinking about the bad things, then write down your achievements and remind yourself all the things that you've done. Write them down so you can see them every day. If there's something that you write on, if there's not, I highly suggest, even if it's the notes in your phone, you don't particularly need to have like a journal and carry it around, which I do believe in the power of writing, but just have a list in your phone of something that you look at every day. Maybe it's your to-do list, and you have on top of your to-do list all the amazing things that you think about yourself. How amazing would it be to see that every day? It's so boosting to your confidence. And what are we trying to do? We're trying to boost your self-confidence. Another thing is to not compare yourself to other people, because everyone has their own pace, their own trials and tribulations. Their success looks different than yours. So don't compare yourself to other people. That's one of the worst things you can do. I feel like as social media, we kind of go through waves. I feel like for a while there, it's very easy to kind of compare yourself to other people, the pictures, the life, the things that they have that you don't. Let's stop. Don't do that. Confidence is something that you have to actively work on. Yes, some people may naturally be more confident than others. It's the nature of the game. But the great thing about confidence is that confidence is something that you can gain. Maybe for example, this is a great example. Like, say you need to go get a haircut, or you need to go dye your hair because your roots are growing out, and you just feel like super unconfident, and then you go get your haircut, and bam, instant confidence. You just feel like you just look good, you're put together, like you just have that instant confidence. So confidence is something that you can easily obtain. Now I wanted to kind of roll into like my 5 recommendations to help build your confidence. Even if you feel like you're a confident person, these are just 5 things that you can easily do that can also help boost that. So number 1 is when you when you wake up, ask or tell yourself a few nice things about yourself in the mirror. So when you wake up, you are going to look in the mirror and you're going to say, my hair looks good today. Today's going to be a good day. Just boost yourself up. Just say some nice things to yourself. If you spend your days, or if you even wake up just looking at your phone and then you're already comparing yourself to other people, or you're looking at, whatever, and you're already thinking negative thoughts. Oh my gosh, I have so much to do today. How am I going to get all that? Stop right there and replace your first few things when you wake up. Are these things positive? And are you telling yourself a few nice things? So let's start yourself with that first. And then also surrounding yourself with positivity. Maybe you're going to put a few positive quotes on your mirror or on your refrigerator, or it's on the screensaver of your phone, and just be open-minded and just have a grateful attitude and have a go-getting personality, because those things I feel like every day will just help you shine. Number 2 is do something for someone else. Do something for someone else. Volunteer, help a friend. Whatever it is, lend a hand, open the door for someone. It could just be as simple, even as sending a friend a positive, nice message in the morning. If you have a difficult time loving yourself, then you're going to have a difficult time loving other people, and vice versa. And if you are truly struggling with loving yourself and being confident with yourself and having a more positive self-esteem, then I truly feel that loving on other people will make it easier to love yourself. And those things go hand in hand. If you're loving on yourself, it'll be easier for you to love other people. So if you are struggling with that, I really highly recommend, and even if you're not struggling with that, number 2 goes a long way. Number 3 is listen to the criticism that is given to you and use it to better yourself. A lot of the times I feel that, criticism can give you a brand new perspective, and it can open your eyes to things that you might have overlooked or never really considered. I feel that I love when someone can kind of come in and give me criticism. I love other people's opinions, because other people have such a different outlook sometimes on something than you, and it could just add so much value to whatever it is that you're working on and make it so much better. Like, for example, when Lambert's working on a video, I'll kind of come in and we'll kind of put our heads together and we'll just make this amazing, piece of art. And it's that, constructive opinion, that criticism, that performance review, that feedback, if you will, whatever you want to call it, that is definitely going to help you grow by shedding a light and giving you an opportunity for improvement, which could make that thing that person might be criticizing, giving you that constructive criticism, 10 times better. Number 4 is, if you're dealing with fear, ask yourself, what is the worst that can happen? And how will you deal with it if that worst thing did happen? But I love this one because so many people just live their life afraid of fear. And I feel that most of the more monumental things in my life happen from me stepping outside my fear. So number 5 is don't should yourself. So should've, would've, could've, these of the world are never helpful. So just show up for yourself, but also show yourself mercy and grace. Confidence, at the end of the day, it can be a tricky thing. It is truly a balancing act, but it all comes down to listening to and believing in ourselves. It truly comes down to ourselves. All right, guys, that is all for me today. Go to Apple Podcast. Don't forget to rate and review the podcast. If there's a topic that you would love me to touch on, please comment and let me know. I would love to just dive in and see what you guys want to listen to. and watch, because if you are watching it, you're on the YouTube channel. If you aren't watching it, make sure you go subscribe to my channel. I love you guys, and I will see you next week.